Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream so I can watch the comments on it live. Shouldn't be too long. I think we're just about there. Okay. So this evening we're going to do two things actually. So rather than just go straight off flying, I'm going to show you how to bring 2020 marketplace aircraft into 2024. So this is a new development that launched last night in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or in 2024. So what you should find you are able to do is go to the marketplace now. So the marketplace is no longer a placeholder saying coming soon. So when you come into the marketplace, you obviously see straight away the various upgrades that they're selling because it only has a SOBO content in it at the moment. Okay, so you can see all of the airplanes that come with the various editions of Flight Simulator are available. And obviously you can see, because I bought the Pilot Edition, I already own all of them. So I own all of the content. So, as of last night, if we go and click on the home button to come back and have a look, if we were to go and look at World, you can see a new World update arrived in the simulator for Brazil, French Guiana, and Suriname. So that's the way that you will now go and add updates to Flight Simulator 2024, is you will come into the marketplace to get your free updates in here. Okay, so the major thing I want to show you tonight though is if you had bought aeroplanes for 2020 and if they are compatible at all with 2024, you can now use them again. And you don't even have to install them. It will stream them over the internet as needed. So we go and click on My Library, and this shows you everything you've got in your simulator. So this is all of your scenery installs and everything that are coming from the cloud. But if you go and look in Enable, where is it? I'm going to get lost myself now, aren't I? So we can see, look, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 only. So you can do various filters to see what's in here. But if we go and open this up and look in Creators, we can see here's the various developers. So I've got none of them ticked at the moment. So if I go and click, for example, on Carenado, and you can see I've actually gone and installed them all already. But if I go and choose somebody else, say Coxper. So we'll turn off Carenado, just show Coxper. So here we go, here's a good example. There's an aeroplane here that will work in 2024, otherwise it wouldn't be listed. If I select it and enable it, it will suddenly be available to me in 2024. Now you might find little bugs here and there because it's not creator approved, but that doesn't mean it won't work. It just means that they haven't made a 2024 specific version yet. But Asobo have been hard at work to make the old aeroplanes work with 2024. They just might not have all the new features in them. So I've gone in today and I've enabled all of my previous Carenado purchases. So you will notice looking down here, as I said, if an aeroplane just won't work, they won't list it. So at the moment, the V35, the V-tail Bonanza, is not in here. It should be. So that means it doesn't work for whatever reason with 2024 yet. Okay? So anyway, I've gone and enabled, just to show you how fast this is, if we go into, let's go and pick a developer. So Lionheart, and we'll turn off Carenado on the filter. So there's the Belanca, oh no, the Booker Youngman, for example. If we go and select that one and enable it, remember how long it used to take to install the aeroplanes? Because now all you're doing is saying allow this to be streamed. So that was as quick as it gets. You're not actually gumming up your hard drive with loads of aeroplanes that you might not use all the time. So you may as well go and switch them all on. So we could come into CJ Simulations, for example, and there's the Eurofighter Typhoon. Let's go and enable it. And give it a couple of seconds to do it. And there we go, I've got the Eurofighter Typhoon to use again. Now notice again, not creator approved, so it hasn't got custom features that are brought by 2024, and it also says 2020 in the label at the top corner. So there you go, you can now have your 2020 aircraft, if you bought them from the marketplace, straight into 2024. So this evening we are going to go and do a free flight, and I'm going to go and have a look at the map to see where we're going. So let's go and remove the track from last night. We're starting off at Bembridge on the Isle of Wight, so Echo Golf Hotel Juliet. Let's just go and check the volume levels before we go much further. Echo Golf Hotel Juliet, so we need to put that into here as our departure point for flying. I'm going to be using the Carenado 182, so Echo Golf Hotel Juliet, Bembridge on the Isle of Wight. So we'll zoom in to Bembridge, and we're going to wind the clock back a little bit to put it into daylight hours, so we actually get to see something along the way. Should we set it for the morning actually? So let's go for about 9:30 in the morning. We'll put ourselves on a GA parking spot and start the flight. So the simulator is going to do its work now. So Bad Hog's saying, do any of the PMDG ones work? They're not listed. So, and I know PMDG, if you've been reading any of the news about this, there's been serious compatibility issues. The PMDG planes are having to be rebuilt to work in 2024. Any of the more complicated aeroplanes are facing problems because in some cases they extended the simulator, or they did things in unique ways because they did things the simulator didn't do out of the box. So we can see straight away, look, if I just use the walk around mode, there's our 182 in 2024. Isn't that cool? So obviously it doesn't have any other features like the covers on the pitot tubes or anything like that. So we can just go and jump straight in the aeroplane. So if I go and press backspace and then put head tracking on, you can see it's our old friend, the Cessna 182RG from Flight Sim 2020, and here it is in 2024. And it's looking as good as ever. Isn't it great? It's like having an old friend back, isn't it? So John Crixton's saying, is the background music part of the sim? Yeah, that's just the background music in the menus in 2024. So I'm going to turn the head tracking off for a moment so we can look around. So if you've not seen some of these planes, the Carenado aeroplanes for 2020 were fantastic. They're not study level. They're kind of the flight models are quite simple and the engine modelling is quite simple, but it's good enough to have fun with, and you can just use them kind of like an easy way to go relax and have a fly. And that's the way I've always looked at them. The Carenado planes, though, look spectacular. They always have done. So they always the Carenado planes out of the box have tablets in them as well in 2020, and obviously now in 2024. So all these features still work. One of the interesting things I noticed is when you look on the external view, you get the 2020 pilots in 2024. Obviously, that's one of the elements they would have to implement to make a new version for 2024. But in the interim, we've got them. Okay, so you can see there's various options in the airplane. If you've not seen this airplane before, you can integrate with the various radio kit. I'm just going to use the basic ones that come with the sim, the Garmin units. We've got startup options to shortcut starting the plane up. We're going to work through it just to show that you can. And there's a basic checklist in there. But otherwise, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. So we can put the tablet back away. Okay, so let's go and get our aeroplane, at least get the engine running. We'll go and put some fuel in it first. Should we make sure we've got live weather, actually? There we go. So just to make it a bit more interesting. Okay, so fuel. We open the tablet and we go to aircraft, flight performance, mass balance, fuel, and we can put some fuel in the airplane. We'll take it to about 80%. I'm just looking at the live stream comments. So Ken is asking, how about add-ons like airport graphics or how to get my Logitech FIPS? Logitech support said to get the SPAD driver. I haven't got any extra hardware on my desk. I've probably got the least add-ons for Flight Simulator of anybody I know. So I don't have any of these physical switch panels or anything. So I've never installed SPAD. I've never installed any of the other, a raft of software to connect things through, like Arduinos or whatever, to connect switch panels or whatever. But yeah, I do know of them. If anyone's seen the video of my dad's cockpit, they'll have seen the insanity. He's got like 40 USB connections. He's got multiple Arduinos. He's got basically half of a GA plane, half of a 737, half of multiple other aeroplanes, all wired together. Anyway, so we were going to go and get the engine up and running. So I'll just pop the yoke off while we do this. So battery on, alternator on, put the beacon light on. Down here, the fuel is on both. I'm just going to go and check, before we go any further, what controls I've got set up. So on my quadrants, same as normal with Flight Simulator. So on basic, throttle, and propeller. Yeah, that's probably a good setting to use. So if I just check that, so I've got use of the propeller and the throttle, and then I'll obviously have to use the mixture in here. So rich mixture, and go full speed on the propeller, and then let's turn the engine over. And we have an engine. So let's take it up to 1000 RPM just to warm up. So now the engine's running, we can go and we'll go and stick the nav light on, and the avionics master switch on the 182 is on the door, so that will fire up the GPS and the various other radios. So just wait for a few seconds for them to come online. So this is just like having an old friend back, isn't it? Having some of our favourites from 2020 available in 2024 all of a sudden. And they all seem to work. Well, the ones I've tried, all of the Carenado aeroplanes that are available, even though it said they're not authorised by the developer yet, they seem to work fine. So just waiting for the GPS to come up. We'll go and put the transponder on standby. So while we're waiting for that, let's go and see about getting today's route. So copy that to the clipboard in little nav map. So we're taking off from Bembridge and then flying across some more Orbex airfields across the south of England to go have a nosy at them along the way. I will need to plug an Xbox controller in at some point. So we're going to go into the route section of planner.flightsimulator.com. We're going to paste in the route from little nav map, and that gives us the basic route in here. And then we can say it's VFR, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it makes much difference to this. We're only going to be doing like 100 knots along the way, 120 maybe. We're going to be at, say, 2,500 feet. Again, doesn't really make any difference. And we're going to put in here and save this and call it the Bembridge. Oops, helps if you have the caps lock key around the right way. Bembridge onwards. Save new plan. So that will have saved it up to the cloud. So let's try this out and see if it works in a 2020 plane with the working title Garmin. So flight planner, route, load flight plan, Bembridge onwards, load, and let's see if this works. Send the route to the avionics. No. That's a shame. I didn't expect it to work, to be honest. So we're going to go and have to program this by hand. which isn't going to take long because this actually works with the keyboard, unlike the ones in 2024. So we can click on the keyboard icon. So we just need to go EGHJ and press enter, and then just go down and put the next few in. So Goodwood EGHR. And then Farnborough is EGLF. I've forgotten, you have to go quite slowly with this sometimes. You can get ahead of the simulated operating system on the Garmin units. EGTF is Fair Oaks, so EGTF. Yeah, I'm going a little bit more slowly looking, it's working fine. And then Red Hill, EGKR. Enter. Biggin Hill, EGKB. And that's going to take us out to Biggin. And yeah, that's probably enough for tonight of the route. So then flight plan, so you can see we've got the magenta line on here now, and then this obviously works as per normal, like it should. Okay, so Peter heat on. We can obviously do engine run-up tests if we want, but like I said, it's not a wonderful simulation in the Carenado aeroplanes, so you are going to get the revs drop. You can do the I don't know if this has got carb heat. Yes, it has. So let's try it. So I'm just watching the RPM. Yes, the RPM's dropping, look. And then it comes back when we push the carb heat back in, so it kind of simulates it. So obviously, yeah, like as I was saying, you could take it up if you're going to do your RPM check. Take it up to sort of 17 or 1800 RPM. We've got the parking brake on, by the way. So that's 1700. We'll keep an eye on the needle. We're going to go for each of the mags to look at the differences. So not more than 150 difference between both, and left or right, and left and right weren't massively variant from each other, but then we're not expecting them to be. Okay, let's have a look at the airfield here. So wind is from the north 9 knots, so we're going to go taxi down to runway 30. So let's go and have a look at how we get out there. We're looking to go right and then left. Is there a taxi? It's just grass taxiway, isn't it? How loud are we on the engine before I go too far? Yeah, it's quite loud, isn't it? So let's turn the aeroplane down a little bit so you can hear me over it. We just need to taxi out to the runway there, don't we? So there's no taxiway to get there easily. Okay, let's go and calibrate the altimeter. We'll put the lights on, so if we can have a look at the front, you can see it lit up like a Christmas tree. Very cool, isn't it? So the cowl flaps are open, which is good. Oh, a bit wriggly on the runway. We've got the wind is actually trying to turn the aeroplane quite viciously. Coming up through 70 knots, so nose up. Very cool. Looks awesome, doesn't it? So we can go and close the cowl flaps. Let's pull the RPM back a bit. Pull the power back a bit. So yes, the 182RG, RG stands for retractable gear. So Lynx V2 is saying about the not being able to disable Heathrow. I managed to disable it. Okay, so what we can go and do is go and put the autopilot on, and it does roll hold by default. We can go and whiz this heading bug around to the direction we're going. Whoops. And then press heading mode. We are in a GPS mode. So if we spin the, obviously the HSI has no meaning when you're in GPS mode, but we could set it to, whoops, I didn't mean to press that. We could set it to the course we're wanting to be on, which would be 50 degrees, is that, or 60 degrees? It's difficult to see, isn't it? And no matter how much you zoom in, you can't see it. It's 50 degrees. So there's the heading bug to 50. We'll set the HSI to 50 degrees. And on here we can go to nav mode because we are close enough to do it. We go to altitude hold mode. We're about 2,000 feet at the moment. We could go and tune in the altitude we want though. So say we wanted 2,500 feet. We can take ourselves up at 500 feet a minute to 2,500 feet. We can turn the landing lights off now as well, and the taxi lights. So we should see, this will be a good test of it actually. So we've set the altitude. It's doing what it's been told at the moment. Let's go and increase the range on the GNS 530. We're off to the races. We could probably pull the mixture back a bit as well. Obviously you can watch the RPM as you play with the mixture. So let's see what happens as we approach 2,500 feet. Let's see if the autopilot correctly winds out the vertical speed. There it goes. Very good. So there we go. We have the 182RG in Flight Simulator 2024. Fantastic fun. Oh, I'm quite jealous, Brian. I'm just looking at Brian's comment there. He's saying he's off to go to FS Weekend this Friday. I was talking to my other half about it. I did wonder about going, but we just got too much going on. And with me not being well recently, it would have just been one more thing. But I would have loved to have gone. Because Amsterdam's quite easy for us to get to as well. Anyway. So if we go and switch this over to Rose mode, it gives us the distance and the estimated time en route to the next waypoint. While we're flying along, I'm just going to go and grab the Xbox controller and plug it in so we can use...
At our 12 o'clock, just 2 kilometers away, we have Beverly Holiday Park. While it might not be the most glamorous spot from up here, it's a popular destination for families looking to escape the hustle and bustle. Imagine a place where kids run wild with ice creams in hand, and parents try to relax while secretly plotting their next escape. It's a quintessential British holiday experience. The park is nestled in a beautiful area, offering a mix of activities and relaxation. From up here, you can see the lush greenery and perhaps even spot a few caravans. It's a slice of British holiday culture, and who knows, maybe there's a future pilot down there dreaming of flying high like us.
Okay, why is this wandering around? It's just the wind, isn't it, that's manipulating it. So if we center this up and go back to head tracking mode. Ah, so Brian will be on the SayIntentions stand. Fantastic. Yeah, I really wish I'd have been able to make it, but again, I've got work commitments again, Friday and Monday, so it would have made it a lot easier if I could have had it turned it into a long weekend and come over and been there both days, but yeah, not this time, unfortunately. My other half is scared to death of flying, so we would probably, which is, I know that's ironic, we would probably have gone over on the Eurostar. Yeah, I've heard about Cosford from some of my friends. Again, I've got a few guys, friends that down in the southwest of England, the Southwest Flight Sim Group, and they have actually had a stand at Cosford in the past, I think. Okay, we are approaching Goodwood. You can actually see it, look, right in front of us. So I'm going to come off the autopilot and we'll fly in by hand. So let's descend down. So let's have a look at the map quickly. I know this is cheating doing it this way, but we get a good idea of where the wind is. So it's coming in from the north still. It's quite a strong wind, so runway 32 probably. Or we can have some fun and games with crosswind landings, which is always fun. So the klaxon you're hearing is me pulling the power back. There is a safety measure in the 182 where if you pull the power back without the gear down, it sets off a buzzer. So this is the Orbex version, or the one that they sell of Goodwood. I'm not sure who the developer is. So let's slow down a little bit. So I'm going to side slip the aeroplane in a straight line for a moment. You can see the speed falling off, look, as I do it. Let's get the nose up a little bit. If I pull the propeller back as well. And gear down. So we go and watch that happen again. So the gear just recesses into these wells in the underneath of the fuselage. Okay, let's loop around to the right and lose some altitude on the way. So we're within flaps range now, so we're going to drop the flaps, and that will give us a load of drag as well, so we can descend more steeply.
At our 9 o'clock, just 3 kilometers away, we have the stunning South Downs National Park. This expansive park is a haven for nature lovers and outdoor enthusiasts. It stretches across the southern English counties of Hampshire, West Sussex, and East Sussex. The park is known for its rolling hills, ancient woodlands, and chalk cliffs. It's a great spot for hiking, cycling, and even paragliding for those who are a bit more adventurous. From up here, you might catch a glimpse of the famous Seven Sisters Cliffs, which are a series of chalk sea cliffs that are truly a sight to behold. The park is also home to a variety of wildlife, including rare birds and butterflies, making it a biodiversity hotspot. It's a beautiful patchwork of landscapes that looks like something out of a painting.
Okay, so we're just approaching Goodwood. Just open the cowl flaps up, drop the flaps. So let's have a look at that back side. You see it's fully configured. Lights on. A little bit off to the left, let's just correct that. So Goodwood has a racetrack around it as well. We'll have a look in the drone camera in a moment when we go nosing around the airfield. Looks like that's the VOR as well. If you ever want to see what a VOR looks like, I'll show you in a moment. We'll just park out the front in front of everybody because we're not staying. I'm going to leave the engine running while we're having a nose around. You just park on the hard standing here, next to the fuel. Okay, so just turn the head tracking off. If I press Shift and X, we are in the outside view. So obviously the first thing to go look at Goodwood is this lot. So there's some Spitfires here. So Gertie makes a starring appearance once again. So in common with lots of these airfields that have been modelled, we've got some, I'm guessing this is Burning Blue design, seeing that there's animated figures everywhere. Yeah, there's the Telltale, the guy with the beard. So let's go and have a look along the airfield. So there's a great big hangar here. Now, I don't know if you notice, maybe this is a 2020, 2024 thing. The sound of that engine is not dissipating as we get further away. So that looks like one of the bugs. But we can put up with it. So, as we mentioned, Goodwood, obviously known as Glorious Goodwood in the media. I'm just going to go and fix this, so let's go and turn the engine off for the moment. So, pull the mixture. I think the GPS will remember everything. If we go and turn the mags off, and I think it will remember. I'm just getting annoyed with the noise from it. So press Shift and X again. Here we go. Right. Obviously it's racetrack. I'm not sure if it's got animated cars going around it. Oh yeah, it has. You can see one just coming in. So what's this going to be? Porsche. Going quite slowly. Doesn't want to scratch it, obviously. Yeah, they're probably all Porsches, I guess, on an animated loop. But you can see there's a lot of detail here. So this track is kind of like a heritage site now. It's like as motor racing was in the 1930s and 40s. It's kind of very much been kept as was then. So even over this side, look, with the houses and the trees. So obviously we can go and fly off around the track and have a look at it. I promised we were going to go and look at the VOR, didn't we, as well? So let's go down and look at the VOR station. There you go. So underneath you've got I'm guessing the generator and any hardware is inside that container underneath. But that's what VORs look like. What else do we have over here? Little radio mast. Otherwise, it's just a huge grass airfield. Now there is a hill climb at Goodwood. I don't know if it's modelled into the scenery, but obviously you will have seen it in various bits of footage of classic cars and modern cars making their way up the hill. Right, let's go and find our aeroplane. Here we go. So Shift and X puts us back in. Let's see how well we do at getting the aeroplane up and running again. Mixture would be helpful. Propeller would be helpful as well. We didn't shut the fuel off down here, so we're good to go with that. I'm just interested to see if the Garmin will have remembered everything. Probably. Hopefully. We didn't turn the radios off, did we? We just turned the power off. It's a bit naughty. And now we're going to try starting the engine. Hopefully it doesn't simulate surges and it won't blow the radios. Nav light back on, beacon light back on, taxi light back on. We'll just wait for the GPS to come up and then we'll taxi back out to runway 32. So we'll do an about turn. and then we'll take off and carry on north towards Farnborough. I've never been to Farnborough in the simulator. Okay, so yes, it's remembered the route, which is fantastic. So just getting us in an appropriate position in the cockpit to see around ourselves. Follow our own wheel tracks across the grass. Set the flaps for takeoff on a grassy field. We'll go backtrack a lot down to the far end of the runway a little bit, give ourselves some sort of takeoff roll. Full throttle, airspeed's coming up, 40 knots, 50 knots, gently rotate, and we leap into the air. Should we go to the outside view to watch this again? Gear up. And flaps up. Don't need the landing lights on now. The cowl flaps can be closed. So someone's saying this looks no different than 2020. That's because this is an aeroplane from 2020. The difference is outside. Let's get those lights back off. Yeah, this is the difference. We've got seasons, we have fractal generation up close of the ground. We have many, or much more in the way of scenery. You know, insane amounts more. And the weather generation, the lighting model, the flight models are enormously improved. Okay, so 22 miles to run, 15 minutes to get there. Should we put the autopilot on? So we're just coming up towards 2,000 feet. We'll bring it round towards the direction we're going. We're close enough to the track to go to nav mode straight away. Go altitude hold. We'll dial it back to 2,000 feet. And it should center up on it on its own. Pull the mixture a bit. Okay. Something you will find over 2020 is, yeah, the interaction with the lighting. It just looks more real in 2024. Even with the imported aircraft. Okay, how are we doing? 19 miles to run. Let's get rid of the messages. Doing about just under 140 knots, which is absolutely fine. Maybe wind it back a little bit. So I'm just looking at this. Okay, it was just not rendering the needles because we weren't close enough with the camera. So needles all look fine. So you find in this aeroplane you've got a temperature gauge on the wing root over there. Not sure what's on this. Oh no, it's a blank on this side. Okay. So you can manipulate the visors around. I'm trying to remember if there were any Easter eggs in this aeroplane. I don't think there were. The door's open.
At our 3 o'clock, just 2 kilometers away, we have the Carenado Park Polo Club. This isn't just any sports facility. It's one of the most prestigious polo clubs in the world. Established in the 19th century, Carenado Park is known as the home of British polo. It's hosted many international tournaments and has seen royalty and celebrities grace its grounds. Imagine the thrill of a polo match, the thunder of hooves, and the elegance of the game. From up here, you might even catch a glimpse of the perfectly manicured fields. It's a place where tradition meets sport. And who knows, maybe one day we'll see a match from the sky.
Okay, 15 miles to run. Shall we have a look at how we're doing? So if we go new flight in Navigraph and we go in here and paste in our routes that we copied earlier and say done. So you'll see, so we're only going to go out as far as, well, we'll see how far we get. So we're heading north at the moment from Goodwood over to Farnborough. So if we go and zoom in on Farnborough, you'll see the layout. So I've never visited it in the simulator, which is crazy. So what we should be able to do is go in here, open the airport up, pull open the charts, go and have a look at the... So there's the chart, the Jeppesen chart then for taxiing around Farnborough. Do they have anything in the way of... Although this is all instrument flight, it's not VFR, so it's pretty pointless for us. So if we were looking at approaches, for example, it's a good point though. What runway will we be coming in on if we're going to land? Runway 06 by the look of it. We could go and play with ILS to see if it works okay in this aeroplane. So if we were to divert right now and go over towards the ILS feathers for runway 06, so we want to turn to about 315 degrees. So if we go back to heading bug mode and turn the aeroplane left, so there's 315 degrees. So we're going off that way. If we look in here, the ILS for runway 06, 111.55, 62 degrees. So what we do is change the course. I'm just going to turn head tracking off. To change the course to 62 degrees. Which is probably about there. And change the nav radio over to 111.55. And switch that to active. Turn this from GPS back to VOR mode, so now the HSI is illustrating the GPS to us. So the arrow represents the runway direction. So if you've never done radio navigation, this is quite a nice one to do actually. So you've got a little aeroplane in the middle of the HSI, or horizontal situation indicator. It represents us. We've rotated the yellow lines round to represent the direction of the runway. So even though it's over here, you kind of get, you know, some orientation. You've also got the glide slope there. So it's already picked the signal up. You can see it's already on the gauge, meaning that we are below the glide slope. So we're at 2,000 feet. If we were to climb gently up to, say, 2,500 feet, which we could do, if we go arm it, tell it to go 500 feet a minute, so the airplane's going to climb, and you'll see that needle start to come down a little bit. But basically what that means is, if you imagine drawing a line down towards the runway at 3 degrees, this tells you if you are above or below that line at your current location. So where we are at the moment, we are below that 3-degree line. We're also to the right. If you imagine that little aeroplane, we're to the right of the centre line of the runway. Which is absolutely true, look. There's the centre line. We're to the right of it. So if we turn back in towards the runway, so if we turn north, for example, so we are on an intercept course with the runway direction. Yeah, so we're coming in sort of this direction now. The reason we are not going north is, actually that may be something we need to keep an eye on that. Look, we've got drift going on between this and the magnetic compass, and there's not much we can do about it. I don't think we can adjust this. So again, that's something we're going to have to put up with in the sim.
At our 2 o'clock, just 3 kilometers away, we have Black Nest Business Park. While it might not be the most thrilling sight from up here, it's a hub of activity for local
Let's see if there's an option in the tablet about stopping it from doing drift.
And the next big thing might just be in the making.
No.
It's a testament to the industrious spirit of the region. From up here, you can see the orderly layout of the park, a modern-day hive of productivity. Who knows, maybe one day one of those businesses will be a household name, and we'll be able to say we saw it from above.
Yeah, so I've been looking in the simulator at this actually. I don't think there's a way of aligning or of let's go and have a look. I looked at this the other day, didn't I? So sorry for taking you on a bit of a wild goose chase with this. But I'm going to search the keyboard commands to see if there's any way of adjusting the compass for drift. Increase inductor compass reference. Now that might be it. Increase and decrease. So there's nothing mapped on it at the moment. So let's try it. So increase. So if I use Control Alt X and Z maybe. So Control Alt X for increase and Control Alt Z for decrease. Okay. Will it work? No. So I don't think there's any controls in 2024 yet to adjust I mean, this is going to be probably slaving off the GPS. But if you notice, it's not agreeing with the magnetic compass. It's about 10 degrees out. So in planes of this era, doing tight turns will cause the gyro compass to drift. And in 2020 there was a keyboard key, I think it was D, that would reset the calibration of the compass to match the magnetic compass. So you can see now, look, we are at 2,500 feet, and obviously we're getting closer to the airfield. We're getting closer to the glide slope. It's coming down. The other trick we could do is press the OBS knob. And that's now projected that course through the airport. So that's the center line. If we zoom out, you'll see it. Yeah? So EGLF, look, is Farnborough. So if we start turning right, we're just on heading bug mode, remember? We could put the autopilot onto the appropriate mode to do it. So there's approach mode. I was probably a bit late. No, it's going to take it, I think. So approach mode will make the autopilot follow the localizer and the glide slope. The only rule being you have to come in from underneath for it to work. So it's lining up, and out in front of us in a minute, you can see it there, look, there's the airfield right in front of us. So this will fly itself down to the runway. So all we need to do is cut the power back. So I've just cut the propeller RPM back, and we'll let the autopilot fly us down the tube. So you can see, if we zoom in, we are already perfectly on the glide slope, which is represented there. We're on the center line, which is represented by the CDI, or course deviation indicator, the middle bar, being in line with the course. If we take it off, if you've never done this before, I'll take it off to show you. So watch the instruments. If we go to the left of the runway, watch what happens to the bar. We are to the left of the center line. If we go back to the right, we're on the center line, and now we're to the right of the center line. Same for the vertical position. At the moment we're pretty much on the 3-degree line down to the runway. If we pull our nose up, we are going above the 3-degree line. If we drop,
at our 12 o'clock, about
we're now
6
on the 3-degree line.
We have Farnborough Airport. This isn't just any airport.
We're now below the 3-degree line.
Aviation history. Farnborough is known as the birthplace of British aviation. The first powered flight in Britain took place here in 1908, thanks to Samuel Cody, an American aviator and showman. Today, Farnborough is famous for its International Air Show, which attracts aviation enthusiasts from all over the world.
And it's
a
Farnborough.
hub of innovation and a testament to the spirit of flight. From up here, you might even see some sleek business jets taking off or landing, as it's a popular spot for private aviation. It's a place where the past and future of aviation meet, and it's right below us.
So you can see at the moment we've got 3 red dots on the PAPI lights, which agrees with us being slightly below. Now it comes into the middle, look here. If I pull up gently, we've now got 2 reds, 2 whites. So it all agrees, which isn't always the case in the simulator. But it's got much better in recent years, with everything agreeing, all the different systems agreeing with each other. So we'll turn OBS mode back off. We're going to find somewhere to park up at Farnborough and then go and have a nose around and see what's here. Never visited it in the sim. So let's go and park over where we saw those business jets. Maybe we won't be going too far. We'll just park on the edge of them. Okay. I wonder if this is going to work the same. Yeah, there's obviously an issue with old aeroplanes with the sound not working, so we'll go and cut the engine. So we can pull the mixture, turn the mags off, turn everything else off so we don't go flat batteries, and press Shift X and we can go and have a nose around Farnborough. Who's that advert for then? The business of yachting. Charter management. Okay. So, Flight Safety International. Based at Farnborough, apparently. Big car park? I'm guessing, is this another business? Or some sort of commercial building? Let's go over to the hangars and have a nosy around them. So the road markings all look very good, don't they? I think this is one of the ones that Asobo have done. It's not a commercial one that I've installed. So it's one that came in probably with the UK update. The world, you know, the world update for the UK. It looks the part though, doesn't it? I wonder if that roof really is like that with a great big gap. I'm guessing it must be. Is there anything in here? No, it's just an empty shell. But this one has an interior. Is that a Phenom? Oh no, it's a Longitude, isn't it? ATR. Looks suspiciously like a CRJ. Another big hangar. Is this the same model again? Are these hangars? I think it might be the same model replicated. But maybe they are identical. So I've noticed the old rolling bug is back with the drone camera. It's starting to roll to the right. I have got a way of fixing it and I can't remember what I've mapped to do it. So yeah, Farnborough looks pretty good, doesn't it? They have various aviation trade shows at Farnborough. You know, where the big, well, the Boeings and the Airbuses of the world come and show off their latest developed airliners and things for the owners of people like Emirates to come and order them. So Shift and X, let's go and get the airplane up and running again. And what are we doing? Beacon light on. Propeller and mixture. Turn the engine over. Well, I know we're doing it in the wrong order. Just trying to shortcut things a little bit. taxi light on, nav light on, pitot heat on. I don't think the breakers, the breakers aren't modelled. Like I said, it's quite simplified, but that means it's really nice and easy to fly. You don't have to think about much. So let's have a look at our next leg from here. We carry straight on at 60 degrees. I was just looking at that thinking, no, that's the ILS going the opposite direction. 60 degrees out to Fair Oaks. So we've got a few GA airfields. So I think tonight we'll probably go as far as Big In. Okay, we're ready to go again. So let's just sit ourselves up a little bit. So Swim and Climb is asking, how many of these series flights have you done? I have no idea. I don't plan massively in advance with anything I do in the simulator. It tends to be whatever I feel like doing on the day. Which I know shocks quite a lot of people because they tend to plan things endlessly and I just don't. So we're not using flaps for this takeoff. We've got a nice long flat runway. And rotate. And gear up. It's a Gulfstream hangar down there, look. So just reducing the RPM and then bring the power back a little bit as well. Okay, so climbing 500 feet out to 2,500 feet, or 500 feet a minute I should say, out to 2,500 feet. And we're good to go again. So we didn't have the landing lights on for takeoff, which was a bit naughty, but we don't need the taxi lights on now either. So while we are en route, we're going to be there quite shortly actually. I was just going to go and jump over to a browser and show you, if you've not got the email from me today yet, I went and started converting the procedures for some of the aeroplanes that you can now pull through into 2024. So I've got new versions of the startup procedures for the Cherokee Archer 2, the Skymaster, the 182RG, obviously this one, and the Pilatus PC-12. It's worth saying, in out of the box, Flight Simulator has a Carenado Pilatus PC-12. It's different than Pilatus' own version, because Pilatus' own version actually has more functionality. It's quite common that you see that, where the Asobo version removes features. So let's go and change our heading. So just coming out to 2,500 feet. We didn't actually need to be this high, did we? Should we go and bring it back down to 1,500? So we are approaching Fair Oaks. So we'll just do a touch and go at Fair Oaks. You can see it down here. So if I spin around, we are again, we've got the same call sign as the other day. Look, Sierra Charlie Romeo. So if I turn your autopilot off, and let's have a play with SayIntentions as well at the same time. So Fair Oaks, we've got centre, CTAP. Oh, they haven't got a tower. That's a shame. We could use centre though, just to, because you can get like basic instruction from centre. So we're going to tell centre that we are downwind for. Now, actually, which way is the wind? Oh, we're going to fly around the airfield and come in 06. So when we're downwind for left pattern into 06, we'll call ATC and tell them what we're up to. So we're going to go and do an orbit of the airfield. So I'm being asked, do I normally fly in 1080p? Yes, because that's what I broadcast to YouTube in. I've thought about upping it to 4K. I'm not sure how many people actually watch YouTube in 4K though. So yeah, Swim and Climb is saying that he had the 182RG in 2020. This is the 182 from 2020. So what you're able to do now is enable them in 2024. So anything you had previously bought in 2020, when you go into 2024 now, if it is at all compatible, you can enable it. Okay, let's turn to 330 degrees. So we're at 1,000 feet, we'll hold 1,000 feet. He says, as he doesn't hold 1,000 feet. There's the runway. I'm going to turn to 240 degrees. And then while we are abeam the airfield, can't quite see it at the moment, we'll just get the turn done first. There's the runway, we're abeam the airfield now, so we're going to talk to centre. Centre, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, downwind for runway 06 at Fair Oaks.
Sierra, Charlie Romeo, London controlled, runway 06 is not active. Contact Fair Oaks Tower for landing instructions.
They're saying Fair Oaks should have a tower, but it's not appearing in here. Centre requesting tower frequency for Fair Oaks.
Sierra Charlie Romeo. Fair Oaks Tower frequency is 123.5.
Copy that, Sierra Charlie Romeo. 123.5. So.
At our 10 o'clock, about 3 kilometers away, we have the Kiln Bridge. Now I know what you're thinking, a parking lot isn't exactly the most thrilling sight from up here. But imagine the stories it could tell. This area is a gateway for those venturing into the scenic beauty of the surrounding countryside.
I'm going to go and turn
where
the
travelers park their cars before embarking on adventures, whether it's a leisurely walk along the canal or a day out exploring the local area. From up here, you can
tour guide off. Fair Oaks Tower, Sierra Charlie Romeo, looking to land runway 06. Will it understand? I don't know if this is a hole in SayIntentions or in the simulator. I'll just circle out here for a moment. Let's have a look at information on Fair Oaks. Yeah, there is no tower, so it's a mistake in the system basically. There's the runway directly in front of us, so we're just going to come in anyway. So get down. Landing lights on. Look where we're going. So the way you would normally do this then, if you've got no tower, is you go to Common Traffic Advisory Frequency. When we take back off from here, we could always go to Flight Following on Centre, and they would be fine with that. And then they wouldn't hand us off, or wouldn't try to hand us off to towers along the way. Should be 123430. Interesting. Yeah, I think there's a bit of a problem going on with the simulator. Is that the frequency they told me? No, they told me 1235, look. It's obviously wrong. So, thank you, Martin. Probably turn within the runway here, can't we? It's quite a wide runway. We'll just get off the runway because I'm going to take off back on the same runway. We're really just going to park up and go have a look at the airfield. So we'll leave some tracks across the grass for them to fix later. So, I guess in common with what we've been doing so far, we'll go and let's try this out. Let's try what Martin's just said. 123430. Let's see if it is in here somewhere. 123500. So 123430. Switch it over. Fair Oaks Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, requesting comm check. I don't think we're going to get anything back.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, reading you 555.
It is there. Oh my word. So it doesn't appear in little nav map on the right frequency. I wonder if it appears in Navigraph as the right frequency. So we want to go to flights. Get rid of that chart out of the way. Here we are, down here. So if we pull up the charts for Fair Oaks and look at the airport information chart, that doesn't give you frequencies, does it? What about references? Nothing. Oh. Navigraph isn't always brilliant, especially for visual or VFR airports. It doesn't really give you much. It's only really set up for the great big airports. Yeah, oh well. And obviously this was wrong as well, so the comm frequencies in Little Nav were wrong as well, because they're coming from the sim. But bizarrely, it worked when we tuned in the real frequency. But the other strange thing there, look, is SayIntentions didn't give us. It gave us RDO, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it. That's my. I dropped the ball. So yeah, Martin's saying I've actually got the Pooley's map behind me. I've got the book of all the airfields as well. Maybe I should use it then, because if they've got the same data for SayIntentions, that would make it so easy. I've got the ring-bound book of all of the airfields. Maybe that'll be a blog post to tell people about that, because I bought the Pooley kit or Pooley's kit a while ago, mostly for the books on flight training. Anyway, let's go and cut the engine and go and have a look around. Make sure the batteries don't go flat. So let's have a look around Fair Oaks Airfield and see what they've modelled and what they haven't. So now we've got the radio frequency for Fair Oaks. That means we can have the conversation with them about departing, which would be quite good fun. So this isn't the highest quality. This has got like the satellite photography with junk in it, which is a bit strange. It's not the best ever. And why is there a T-38 parked up here? Maybe there is. I doubt it though. Yeah, this isn't the best scenery in the world ever, I have to say. So maybe we won't spend too long looking around this one. And yeah, we've got some texture. There's obviously a bit of a conflict going on. This airfield, although it's the one from Orbex, but it doesn't appear to be integrated properly into the scenery. Whether there's a conflict going on or whether there's a problem with the airfield, I don't know. But I think we'll get on our way. So if I bring us back over... Oh, look, there's a bit of an animated thing here, though, for some sort of sewage treatment works by the look of it. So Shift X, let's go and get this back up and running. Beacon light on. Should we turn the radio off this time when we start the engine? Not that it will blow anything, because it doesn't simulate that really. But okay, radio's back on. Taxi light on. Pitot heat on. Nav lights on. How are we doing for fuel, by the way? Where's the fuel gauge? Over there. Oh, we still got loads. So just wait for the GPS to come up. And we'll have a look at where we're going next. Of course, I've just started the engine. I said we were going to have the conversations with the tower, didn't I? We just started the engine without asking. But again, it's debatable with GA aeroplanes whether you have to do that. So we're going to be going southeast down to Red Hill Airport. Echo Golf Kilo Romeo. So we'll just tell the tower we're departing to the southeast. We'll be taking off runway 06. So let's just go and get the GPS up and running, and while we're doing that we can go and talk. So we'll be going an immediate left turn, or hopefully an immediate left turn. So we're talking to the tower, aren't we? Tower Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo requesting taxi to runway 06.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, runway 06, QNH 1002.
QNH 1002, Sierra Charlie Romeo. Interesting they've got an American accent. Doesn't normally do that with SayIntentions, it's usually region specific. I wonder if it's because we've fallen into this... Although we haven't fallen into a hole, it's got the RDO radio frequency. I dropped the ball on looking for tower. So, what did they actually tell us again? Let's just go and double check. Yeah, so they've not given us clearance for takeoff yet. Oh, was the sim just frozen? Nearly. Oh my word. Tower, Cessna, Sierra Charlie Romeo, requesting departure runway 06.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, wind 360 at 7.
So they're not going to give us clearance to take off then, are they? Copy the wind, Sierra Charlie Romeo. Once we get taken off, I'll go and request flight following from the tower, and we'll see how we get on. Actually, I could go over to centre, couldn't I, to do that? So gear up. Close the cowl flaps. So let's go and switch to centre. And where were we going to go next? Down to Red Hill. We're eventually going over to Biggin Hill.
Cessna 1 Tango Bravo flight following is on request. Squawk 3210, then ident. Cessna 1 Tango Bravo radar contact. 4 miles northwest of London Gatwick Aerodrome at 1,900 feet. Climb via the side. Keep it at 220 knots until reaching 5300.
Okay, 1,100 feet and climb to 5 keeping it at 220 knots until reaching 5,300. Cessna 1 Tango Bravo, thank you.
Centre Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, 4 miles east of Fair Oaks, requesting flight following.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, squawk 1177 with mode Charlie and pass your message.
Squawk 1177 Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, identified. 3 miles east of Fair Oaks Radio at 1600 feet, heading 132, QNH 1002.
There we go, we have flight following.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, squawk 1177 with mode Charlie and pass your message.
Message passed, Sierra Charlie Romeo. We don't really want to tell them where we're going. We could do. They may ask.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, basic service, QNH 1002.
That's it. So we can just fly now. It is quite cool how SayIntentions does the signal degradation. So the further you get away from, the controllers, the worse it gets. You end up struggling to hear it sometimes.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, Fair Oaks Radio Airport at your 6 o'clock, 4 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR, so long.
Oh great, that's because I didn't tell them where I'm going. Let's tell them we're going to begin. Centre Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, please request flight following to Begin Hill.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, squawk 1177 with mode Charlie and pass your message.
Requesting flight following to Begin Hill, Sierra Charlie Romeo.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, you're already under basic information service to Biggin Hill. Continue on your current heading. Basic service, QNH 1002.
Continuing with basic service, Sierra Charlie Romeo, thank you. So, yeah, again, this is learning about what the system needs to hear from you. And it needed to know our destination, otherwise it thought we were near an airfield and it was second guessing itself, thinking, oh, he must be going there. So it wanted to hand us straight back off to Fair Oaks, because when I made the initial request.
Contact London info on 124.6.
Contacting London info 124.6, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo. There's a bit of a shortcut there. If you click on the interface, it does it for you, so you don't have to fiddle with the aeroplane. So we're obviously not going straight to Biggin. We're going to go across to another airfield and then we'll do a touch and go while we're there. Yeah, so SayIntentions is improving all the time. It's the best thing it's got at the moment is this thing called Skynet, where it can do aircraft injection between the simulators. So 2020 and 24, people flying either of them can fly together. And they're going to, they're working on expanding it apparently to X-plane and Prepare 3D as well. So people will be able to have group flights across the simulators, with aircraft injection working smoothly, which would be fantastic fun. So let's go and put this onto the first page of the page group. And we can see, look, there's our airfield coming towards us, 7 miles out, about 4 minutes to get there. I know this is probably a bit of an anachronism from me, but I much prefer these old GPS units to the modern ones. I mean, yeah, the GTS, or sorry, the GTN 750 and GTN XI, they're all very clever, but there's something about these old units. I mean, there's tons of functionality in them as well. If you go looking through, if I just turn off head tracking for a moment, if you go looking through some of the modes in these things, like being able to search the database for routes and all sorts of things, it's fantastic. The amount of functionality that's hidden away in this thing, it's just not as intuitive as a modern interface, that's all. I think this is the airfield we can see directly out in front of us, isn't it? Right, shift. Let's set ourselves up a little bit. So let's see what happens if I just request a touch and go at Red Hill. Let's see what the controller says if I don't ask for a specific runway. I suppose I could go for 07, couldn't I? No, we'll just ask for a touch and go. Centre, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, requesting touch and go at Red Hill.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, Red Hill Airport is 7 miles northwest, heading 117. Proceed to Red Hill for touch and go.
Proceed to Red Hill for touch and go at Sierra Charlie Romeo. So it's not giving me much, you know, it's not giving me what a tower would do, which is appropriate because the centre wouldn't. So given the wind, we may use the grass runway, you know, runway 36.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, contact Biggin Hill Tower on 134.805.
Yeah, it's getting muddled up again, look. Contacting Biggin Hill Tower, 134.805, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo. Biggin Hill Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo with you. Currently overhead Red Hill, requesting touch and go at Red Hill.
Sierra Charlie Romeo, runway 3, left circuit approved. Report downwind each time.
Runway 3. Did he just say runway? He's talking about the runways at Biggin, isn't he? Yes. Okay, we're going to ignore the radio for a moment and go have a look at Red Hill. In fact, let's just retune. We won't get in trouble in a simulator. So Red Hill Aerodrome, we've got ATIS, Common Traffic Advisory Frequency Centre, Radio Check, Skyops and Tower. We have got Tower at Red Hill. Okay, so we'll ignore what it was telling us. Red Hill Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, requesting touch and go. Let's see what runway they give us.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, runway 7, cleared for touch and go. Report downwind each time.
Runway 7 for touch and go. Will report downwind each time. Sierra Charlie Romeo. So we're going to orbit the airfield because they essentially want us to do our touch and go over there. Look. So we'll go round on a left pattern. Yeah, they didn't tell us to go left or right, did they? So someone's asking in the live stream chat, have they fixed the OBS mode for the Cessna 172 yet? I don't know, I haven't flown it. I've been busy trying to cover 30 other aeroplanes. It's funny, I was talking to some friends. I went out for a drink last night with some co-workers, and they were asking how the whole simulator thing is going. They're all fascinated that, you know, that I do this as a bit of a hobby on the side. And I said to them, you just need to be careful what you wish for, because yeah, it's great fun doing the YouTube channel, but it's almost become a second job. So it's like as soon as my day job and washing up ends on an evening, I fire the computer up and here I am. Tower Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, downwind for touch and go, runway 07.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, roger, continue for the option on runway 07.
I didn't quite catch that. For the option on runway 07, okay.
Hotel Tower, Golf Bravo Whiskey Oscar, Hotel outbound information Oscar.
Golf Bravo Whiskey Oscar Hotel, Red Hill Tower, runway 18, left hand. After takeoff, fly runway, heading until reaching 5500, then proceed on course.
Runway 18 left hand, fly runway heading until reaching 5500, then proceed. Golf Bravo Whiskey Oscar Hotel.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo on finals, runway 07 for touch and go.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, runway 07, cleared for touch and go.
Red Hill Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, leaving you to the northeast.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, roger, port conspicuity, recall next station en route, have a good flight.
Have a good day. Okay. Yeah, so just looking at Borderless Aviation, there's come with some great information there in the live stream about the information about Red Hill. These airfields around here, they're always quite tight airspace around them, and this is where things like the Pooley's Guide would come in, because it's got all of those really great charts showing you the areas you're not allowed to fly through. And obviously, a lot of these smaller airfields, you get noise abatement rules and things like that, where the circuits are very specific, because there's a lot of very valuable properties and villages around here, and they'll have no hesitation in calling the airfield and complaining bitterly if a noisy aeroplane goes sputtering overhead. It is quite amusing how many of these airfields have got very, very specific routing. Okay, let's go and have a look at Big In. Big In was taking people in on 03, wasn't it? So we want to
Golf Oscar Hotel, you're leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, Golf Oscar Hotel.
So what was the Biggin Tower? There we go, Biggin Hill Tower. 134805. Biggin Hill Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo approaching you from the southwest, requesting full stop landing.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, wind 36007, runway 3, clear to land.
Runway 3 clear to land, copy the weather, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo. So I do know SayIntentions are working to recognise other aircraft in the airspace if they are there in the simulator. So they will sequence you appropriately. So they give you vectors and, you know, separation. So they are actively working on that at the moment, as far as I understand. So yeah, there's a comment there in the live stream about asking for instructions in increments. I will admit, every time I go asking the AI controllers for things, I vary it on purpose to see what I can do, to see what I'm allowed to get away with. Which is, I think, one of the great things about the advances in AI, because it's not as prescribed as it used to be. Where, you know, when, for example, Beyond ATC came out, obviously they've changed it now, it's now got a large language model. But when it came out, it couldn't do, or, you know, it was very, very prescriptive. If you varied too far from its script, it wouldn't understand your communication. Okay, so we're coming in towards Biggin Hill. And we're on the glide slope, lined up on runway 03. We've got clearance. Let's get rid of some speed. A bit low. So Biggin's going to be our final destination for the evening. I love that the runway at Biggin Hill has got this huge hump in the middle of it, and that's accurate. It's a bumpy old runway with a huge mound across the airfield, and there are well-known bumps like that one, and they are accurate to the real thing apparently. Oh, I've not stopped in time to get for that Yeah, we're going to go for the long taxi then. I should have been paying attention then, really. So let's go and put the taxi light on instead of the landing light. Here we go, we've got another taxiway here.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, taxi to General Aviation Parking via Alpha, Lima. Stay with me.
Taxiing to General Aviation Parking via Alpha and Lima, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo. Thank you. So let's have a look and see what actual taxiway we're on here. We're on Delta. Alpha, oh, it's the other side. So we're going to have to cross the runway. So Alpha, Lima, oh my word, it's right over in the far corner of the base. So Alpha's over there. So let's stop short of crossing the runway and see if they give us the appropriate instruction. Tower, Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo requesting permission to cross the runway.
Cessna Sierra Charlie Romeo, cross runway 03, taxi to General Aviation Parking via Alpha, Lima. Stay with me.
Cross runway 3, taxi to General Aviation Parking via Alpha and Lima, Sierra Charlie Romeo. I think something that might be quite nice when they give longer instructions would be for the AI controller to say read back correct sometimes. I don't think it ever says it. I know it does it for when you're setting up an IFR flight and you're obviously you're reading back the instructions. So before we get to this fork in the road, we want to go...
Hill Tower, Piaggio 247 Juliet Lima would like to open our IFR flight plan for Munster.
So it's straight on, I think.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
So Steve Jones is asking, what's my destination from here? This is it. I'm parking up here today, and that will be the end of the flight. I've been on for probably an hour and a half already. So, oh, look at this. We'll come back with the drone camera and have a look at these. Some Spitfire and a Hurricane. We're just about to go straight through the truck. So we're heading to General Aviation Parking, which is right over in the corner of the airfield. Now let me get this right before we go past this junction. Yeah, it's going right here and then the next left. Is that a Falcon over there? With the 3 engines? I think it might be. Nearly there. So next right. And this little corner down here is the GA parking. Should we go and put ourselves around the back of this shed against the fence in the way of the hangar door? Nobody will complain about that, will they? Where did he come from? Okay, parking brake on. And a mixture to shut off, which will use all the fuel up in the tubes. And there we go. Mags off. Turn the taxi light off. pitot heat off. And I've just pulled the power on the radios without turning them off, which was not great. Let's see what happens then in these imported airplanes. Okay, so the doors work without triggering the walk around, which is great. I wish Asobo would change that. Okay, so we can press backspace and we can see we've parked ourselves right in the way of everybody. Nobody's getting these airplanes or cars out anymore. We'll press Shift and X. Turn the head tracking off. Let's go and have a nosy around Biggin Hill then. So, this is the Bombardier hangar in this corner then. So it's quite a big complex, isn't it? I think this is made by Pilot Plus, who are a very good scenery developer. They made Wickham Air Park in 2020.
Kilo, welcome to Biggin Hill. Taxi to parking at your discretion and stay on this frequency.
Okay, I'm going to go and shut SayIntentions down. It obviously, there is an experimental feature in SayIntentions for it to understand if the radio is switched on or not. So let's go and have a look around. If we go on the outside of the airfield first. But yeah, Pilot Plus have made some really nice scenery. I think they made Swansea as well. So Bombardier hangar. What's further down? RAS Interiors. So they obviously do the retro or refitting of aircraft interiors. Okay, let's go and have a look at these. This is interesting, isn't it? The Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar. So we have a Spitfire here. Let me turn the speed of the drone camera down a bit so we can control it a bit better. So there's a Fly a Spitfire banner there. And then over the other side we've got a Hawker Hurricane. Not the most accurate models in the world, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? And quite what a Cessna's doing parked in front of the Heritage Hangar is anyone's guess. So, if we carry on down the side of the airfield, there's obviously it's a fire training area with a pretend fuselage made of angle iron. So, VOR. It's become a VOR spotting guide today, hasn't it? You can see the power shed underneath it with the electrics in it. And down at the far end of the airfield, all the markings look pretty good. And we'll fly up past the... So this is obviously one of the things you get with 2024 is trees down to every twig, and they're seasonal. So leaves will grow on them. And you end up with every individual leaf modelled according to the type of tree it is, which is insane. But that's 2024 for you. And if you come down to the ground, it doesn't really matter. Well, I say it doesn't matter how close you get, but you can see what I mean. It's ridiculous. Anyway. So, tank farm and hangar So can we get into any side of this hangar, or is it just an empty structure? I think it's just an empty structure, which is great for frame rate. So the Pilot Plus are very good at that. They only tend to invest a lot of resources into things that you might want to actually go look at, like the tower. So we can come into the tower, and we've got an animated guy here using his computer. Looks like he's using, is that Excel? I'm sure if you figured it out, you could see what the software was. It's probably a real screenshot of some aviation software. So we've got the sector chart there on his desk. I'm always fascinated to see what they've put on these. So you've got the old cards over here, look, for sequencing flights. Very cool. So if we come further down the airfield, another hangar, a few aeroplanes dotted about on the ground. So yeah, Pilot Plus are very good at not overdoing it. So you end up with airfields that are very, very friendly to frame rates, but also look good from the aeroplane. So they might not, they might not be the best in the world once you get right up close to them, but they do include a lot of extra bits and pieces. Look, so these buildings are obviously part of the complex at Big In, and they've modelled them all. So obviously it's the way in, so it's kind of important, I guess. So as you come along the main road here, there's a Spitfire and a Hurricane. St George's Royal Air Force Chapel of Remembrance, Biggin Hill. And the site of the Biggin Hill Royal Air Force Station. It's very cool, isn't it? So obviously if you don't know British history, Biggin Hill was one of the major fighter bases during the Second World War. So going further down, back down towards where we're parked. It's nicely done, isn't it? Obviously they've not done interiors, and it's like I said, it won't affect frame rate because of it. But from 1,000 feet, it doesn't make any difference really, does it? Screwfix? Does anybody need any hardware? Wonder how many aeroplanes have got parts from Screwfix in them. Probably more than anyone will ever admit. Let's have a close look at some of these helicopters that are parked up down here. They're quite nice models, aren't they? Okay, and we're coming back round to where we've blocked up the parking lot, which is always good fun. Was there anything in this hangar? I didn't actually look when we came past before. Oh, there is. It's another Falcon. Or I think it's a Falcon. And there's our little aeroplane. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this evening. The main point of it was just to go and take a 2020 aeroplane for a fly and to continue looking at these Orbex airfields, or airfields sold by Orbex, made by a variety of different developers. But yeah, I'm absolutely amazed that the 2020 planes are perfectly serviceable. So Asobo, part of the big delay in getting to Sim Update 1 was them putting a compatibility layer in place to allow the vast majority of the 2020 planes to work with 2024. and it looks like they've achieved that. So we've seen there are some wrinkles, things like sound and stuff like that, but for actually just going for a fly, these 2020 planes are working really nicely. And the great thing is it streamed it. I didn't have to install it. So there was no hit on my storage to have this aeroplane in the sim. So literally, if we come back out of the simulator and go back to the main menu, I mean, look, it's instant. And then we can go into the marketplace and go to my library. So my library will have all of my old aeroplanes that I'd bought in 2020 in it. So then I can go to creators. I can open categories as well, I think, just show aeroplanes. So in creators, I could go and say, look for, well, you can see them here, look. When they say not creator approved, it means it will work, but the creator hasn't said, you know, that it works perfectly, or they've not, you know, adjusted it for 2024, which is why they've got the badge on them. So the ones that are greyed out are the ones I haven't installed yet. So here they are, look. So you've got things like the 2020 version of the B2 Spirit. So I could go and tick that and enable it, and it will be in the sim. Same with the Antonov AN2. I could just go, and that one doesn't say not creator approved, so it will work. It'll work properly. So I can just say enable. And look how quickly it installs it. Because it hasn't installed it. It's enabled it for streaming. So we could go all the way down doing that with lots of other aeroplanes to go and put the planes that... There's another one here, look, the Dornier. The Dornier J. You can go and install it. Same here, look, the Douglas C-47 Skytrain. Doesn't say not creator approved. Although saying that, looking inside it, that's because it's a group, I suppose. So that may have been true of the one we just looked at. But it does mean we've got suddenly most of the 2020 aeroplanes from the marketplace are available. If we had purchased them previously, we can have them in 2024 as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this evening. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. That's been good fun, hasn't it? I'll see you all again soon. Take care.